Hey everybody, how are we today? So as you can see, this video is going to be about reptiles. And before we even start talking, I want to do a quick exercise here. How many of you who have been keeping up with the incident in Raleigh with the banded cobra looked at this snake and the first thing you thought is, man, that looks like the cobra that escaped. That fool has got a cobra around his neck. He's going to die. Man, it's dark colored. It's got stripes on it. It's got that triangular head that we're always told to look for in venomous snakes. Well, this girl right here is what's known as a carpet python. She is a non-venomous constrictor, has been in captivity her whole life, was bred for captivity, and is what, by definition, we would call a domesticated animal. And by definition, a domesticated animal is one that has been brought in from the wild or bred in captivity to cohabitate with humans for the benefit of the human being. And I can tell you right now, without any hesitation, all of my reptiles are a benefit. I love these animals. I love educating people about them. If I'm being honest about it, I like all of my animals more than I like most people that I meet. So, that being said, just wanted to illustrate a little point here that if your first instinct was to associate this animal with something that was going to kill me, then this video is for you. Not everybody has had exposure. Not everybody is familiar with these animals. So that's my goal here today, because we can't be making legislation about things just because some people don't understand them. The folks that are making the ordinances, that are making the laws, need to not only listen to the people that are afraid of something that they don't understand, they also need to listen to the people that do this all the time, who know these animals, who know what they're doing, and can put things into perspective. So I'm going to put her back away. She wants to get back into her enclosure and roam around. So when I get back from putting her away, we'll go into some introduction and get this show on the road. So I'll be right back. So she's put away and happy now. So my name's Tim Jackowicz, and today's August 13th, 2021, and I'm here to talk about the private ownership of reptiles. And I'd recently run across a question posed by a councilman to a reptile keeper. I don't remember the councilman's name. I just browsed through long enough to look at the questions that he asked, and I think this needs to be paid particular attention to. The main question was, what's the benefit to society that balances the risk and the danger to society for keeping these wild, dangerous animals? And I've got to say, this is really disingenuous on its face. It's really dismissive, and it puts zero thought into this situation at all. A situation that is really close to the hearts of a lot of people that keep these animals, and I'm going to explain why. Especially here lately, the last few years, we all see how politics works. In this particular case, there's a small percentage of reptile keepers, and there's a large percentage of people that were kind of freaked out by the fact that one of them escaped. And honestly, this is perceived by many as just a blatant attempt for somebody to get just a little higher up in the polls, because they've got a majority sitting over here that wants something done. They don't have any real understanding of the situation, but man, somebody throws some laws out on the table or somebody does something, man, they're going to be a hero. You're going to be able to put that feather in their cap. Pretty much the hell with anybody that's on the other side of the discussion. And I know I paint that in a really bad light, but there's a reason why I do that. And that's because if we're talking about something in terms of what its benefit to society is and how that benefit balances to the risk, then there's a lot of different topics that we need to throw on top of this. If this is genuinely a concern for the well-being of society, then I want to know what your position is on alcohol. Because I personally, on an almost daily basis when I'm at work, deal with somebody who got drunk, killed themselves, killed somebody else, jumped into a vehicle, drove, killed a family, any number of things. This is one of those things that's legal. There's restrictions on it. There's age restrictions on it. You can't drive a vehicle while you're drinking. You can still go to jail for doing things under the influence of alcohol, but it's legal. And I guarantee you that the risk alcohol poses to society is exponentially higher than the risk that any captive bred reptile anywhere has ever posed to any community in the history of this country. Like I said, I see it regularly. I've yet to see anybody out there dead of a snake bite. Tobacco, same thing. It's perfectly legal. I would love to hear what the benefit to society is from tobacco. Motorcycles. Motorcycles are extremely dangerous. I was an avid motorcycle rider for a long time. I almost died on one. And I've personally been responsible for picking people up off the streets after they've been involved in motorcycle accidents. One of them, I had to get his leg out of a tractor trailer a mile and a half down the road. So please tell me what the justification is for keeping motorcycles legal. Because they're dangerous. They don't prove to be a benefit to society. Why are they legal? Why is it legal to smoke? Why is it legal to drink? Between these three things right here, do you know how many millions of lives you can save over time? I'll tell you why. Because people are familiar with them. People aren't familiar with reptiles. Everybody knows somebody that drinks, or they drink themselves. Everybody knows somebody that rides a motorcycle, or they do it themselves. Everybody knows a smoker, or they do it themselves. These aren't alien ideas to somebody. But you throw something in there that they're not familiar with, like reptiles, they don't know anything about it. It's the fear of the unknown. And the problem is that we don't, as a society, it's not really wise to build our policy around ignorance. It is much more beneficial for us to educate the people around us on the actual threats, on what to actually do, because particularly for venomous snakes. And this isn't something that's confined to the reptile trade. I can walk out in my backyard right now and get bitten by a copperhead. I'm in several snake identification groups, and there's constantly pictures in there. Can you identify this snake for me? It's a copperhead. It's a rattlesnake, whatever the case may be. It's already something that we deal with. And I would be really curious to see anybody in any town council anywhere produce statistics for escaped venomous reptiles that have bitten somebody. Probably wouldn't be able to do it. But I'm going to venture to guess that most of you guys could probably think right off the top of your head somebody that died of lung cancer, somebody that got hit by a drunk driver, or somebody who was in a motorcycle accident. Okay, so ignorance is not an excuse to withdraw somebody's rights to keep something. The thing that really concerns a lot of us reptile keepers is the fact that this ordinance has been written so broadly. You could include any number of things in there. Personally, I'm not a venomous reptile keeper. I've got constrictors and monitor lizards, but it worries me when I see people starting to pass legislation against one thing that's based in fear and ignorance, because there's a lot of people out there that are afraid of the animals that I've got. If you want to earn votes the easy way, start some public outreach programs, start some education programs, because I guarantee you in the long run, doing the right thing is always better than doing underhanded shit to get a vote. You're going to be much more well respected for promoting education than you are for promoting fear. So anyway, I guess the long and short of what I'm saying is that, you know, this person had expressed that these animals are such a danger to society and we need to make sure everybody's afraid of them and we need to make them illegal. Sir, you're not the least bit concerned about dangers to society. Don't pretend that you are. You're pandering to a majority to keep you a little bit higher in the polls. You want everybody to think that you're doing something. You're not. You're making people more afraid of something that, even if you make venomous snakes illegal, those people still have to deal with venomous snakes when they walk out their door. Would you rather have that person educated and know how to handle that venomous animal after it just bit their kid? Or do you want to continue to make these people so afraid of it that they're even afraid to learn what to do? It makes no sense to me. Okay, these there's already laws on the books. This it's my understanding that this kid in Raleigh had gotten his privileges suspended for a year. He's on probation for a year, $13,000 in restitution for the overtime and things like that. And I'm going to venture to guess that it's going to have an impact on this kid. I already know that the reptile community as a whole has had an impact on this kid and anybody that that kid was involved with, because we all come down on people incredibly hard. There's a lot of social pressure in the reptile community. When somebody does something stupid, when they're not taking care of their animals right, if they're abusing them, if they're not securing them properly, if they're not abiding by the laws, the entire community comes down on these people, because we understand that our rights to keep these animals are in jeopardy every time somebody screws up. So we've probably got more self-governance in our community than most do. I can talk about what the relationship to captive venomous snake bites are, to dog bites, you know, all these other animals that nobody has a problem with anybody owning, that have a higher frequency of injuring humans than snakes do. You know, it's not a problem there. Why? Again, because it's more widely accepted. The more people know about them. This is just this whole discussion about reptiles is purely a matter of education. That's what it needs to be about. You cannot go wrong by better educating people about anything. It may cost you a couple votes. It may cost you your job. But you know what? Improving society and improving the intellectual capacity of our communities is more important than your job. And if you get any honor at all, you should acknowledge that. I've done several different takes of this, trying to sugarcoat everything and trying to come across sounding really PC. And I'm a 48-year-old combat vet. I'm not one for sugarcoating things. And when I see some councilman trying to weasel through something on what I find to be a completely fake premise, I'm just going to call it out for what it is. This isn't about community safety. This is about pacifying some people that are afraid of things that they don't understand. And there isn't any professional keeper in the state of North Carolina that I can think of that would refuse an opportunity to do any kind of public speaking engagements, bring their reptiles down, show them, teach people about them, help to educate people out of this fear. And maintain our animals that we find so much fulfillment in. So, you know, I mean, if a council was to come across to me now and say, you know what, you know, find some people, put together a couple-hour program or something like that, come down and let's see firsthand what you're talking about. I would gladly come down and shake everybody's hand and get everybody that I could think of together, and we would box up our animals and we would come down and give a presentation. Because I have got all of the respect in the world for people who aren't familiar with these things, and I understand people being afraid of them, but I also do what I can to enlighten people on these animals any chance I get. So on that note, I hope you guys take this into consideration. I know there hasn't been a lot of data presented here, and it's all been pretty idealistic, but the data's out there. There's people from USARK, from NCARK. There's a whole battalion of people out there who can throw statistics down on the table for you all day long and support everything that I just said, and I know they will. But the heart of this whole thing is just, you know, do the right thing. Don't pander to people for votes and then start taking the rights of good, responsible people away because one kid makes a mistake and you don't feel that the rules that are in place already are sufficient. We've got enough, and it's just like anything else. People break gun laws, they go to jail. People break booze laws, they go to jail. You know, these things are dangerous. They're not a really good benefit to society. But we still allow them, and we make sensible rules for them, and we expect people to abide by them. So let's make sensible rules about these animals. Don't ban them. You know, and we'll police our own, you know. So anyway, thanks for taking the time. And, you know, I'm more than happy to engage anybody or to, you know, take any steps necessary to help educate people out of making bad decisions for animal laws. So you guys have a good day. Thanks a lot.